didn't know a lot of stuff about boating when I first started. The shredders are gonna be shredding today, man. But getting my own boat, I was 19. I learned a lot. I didn't know anything about boating. I knew nothing about anchoring. I knew nothing about boats in general. You know, being 19, it was time for me to kind of get out on my own, kind of learn, you know, how to figure it out. And at that time, it was kind of a bad time in America because stock markets and the whole economy crashed. And at that time, I could have bought a house. I could have went to the bank and they would have given me a loan to buy a house. But I didn't want to have to pay someone back. I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of, you know, I stayed on the beach and I was home challenged is what I would call it. I went through roommates in different places. I had my car, my Beetle, a surfboard. So I didn't go to school either. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I kind of was just, I mean, why do I have to be something? I never understood that. It wasn't like I really wanted to be something. I just wanted to do something. I didn't get a house because that definitely didn't feel right. So I would usually drive over to the East Coast and go surfing. So I would come over here and I really loved surfing. I loved to I wanted to be closer to the ocean. I felt so much more at home at the ocean. But the problem with being at the ocean was it was expensive. I ended up coming into town, into St. Augustine, because I was running out of money. I had about 10 bucks. And I could have driven back and lived with my dad. And that would have been okay. I wanted to try to make it on my own, and I was pretty stubborn. But being 19, I mean, it's kind of time, and it's not easy. I mean, you can't afford anything because you don't have anything. And it's kind of a catch-22. If you don't have any experience, you can't get a job. If you don't have any money, you can't get the clothes in order to get a job. I had a chance because I was kind of walking the back streets and I got a little lost and didn't know where the heck I was, and this guy asked me where I was going, or he knew I was lost. I'd just been kind of holding in my story for so long that I needed to just tell somebody, and he was the next person to talk to because I hadn't talked to anybody in a while. He immediately took me in like a child. He understood kind of where I was at. I mean, as anybody who's kind of been through a situation like that. Time went on, and he showed me his sailboat, and I immediately, when I saw a sailboat, I wanted to live on a sailboat too. That's when it all kind of began. I wanted to get a sailboat. I wanted to live aboard, but I didn't know how. I didn't know anything about boats. I knew nothing about, I don't even know how to use a wrench. The dock that this gentleman had shown me his sailboat, there was another sailboat for sale. So I talked to the gentleman who was selling it, and he said that he would sell it to me and to work out the dockage with the marina. I was so excited. I finally had a sailboat. My dad wasn't excited, but I was. I had a place to live. I had a place to cook some food. Moved aboard, used the money that I was supposed to be using on college for the boat, paid it off. I had a lot to learn. I didn't know how to row. I didn't know how to splice line. I didn't know anything about electrical, anything about plumbing. In fact, a through hole on my boat was duct taped with a cork. So many dangers to living on a boat that a lot of people don't even think about. At least I didn't. I learned so many things about living aboard. And I did. I slowly and surely, with the help of a lot of people that were living in the harbor, I learned how to anchor. I would have a Bahamian moor. I was asking a guy about, should I untwist the lines? And he said, yes, I should, because if I don't, the boat will just keep twisting and twisting and twisting and twisting and eventually go under the water and sink. And I believe that. I actually believe that. I had no idea. No, it's not going to do that. It'll probably pull one of your anchors up or both your anchors up and you'll drag. Yeah, I had so many things to learn, and over time I learned it. I even learned how to beach my boat. Coming back now, it's been 7 years. I've taken at 2 Atlantic crossings and just kind of learned to sail, learned to point and to tack and to jibe and the different dangers and things to look out for in doing so. I'm at a point in my boating life where we're still now. We've done an Atlantic circle. We're back to work. We're back to, you know, the real life things. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love being aboard. We'll go on more trips. That's just how it is on a boat. We can do things. We can pick up our anchor and we can move. Right now, you know, when we got back from our Atlantic crossing, there was a lot of stuff broken, and you guys saw a lot of the things that we had to do. And each time you fix your problems on your boat and then you move on to the next one. And that's what you have to do, and it can be so overwhelming. And I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, are so overwhelmed in their boats. And that's okay. I mean, it all takes time, and you just can't let it overwhelm you. Sometimes you're more done than you think you are. And sometimes you lose sight of why you're doing this, and there's a lot of people that do. But don't lose hope and don't lose sight of it. We all are here living on Earth, and we all have to work. Well, maybe not all of us, but the majority of us have to work, and that's okay. What can you do? You gotta make money in order to eat and in order to buy boat parts. That's pretty much what it's about when you live aboard. So yeah, I've definitely learned a lot living aboard, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. But I just want to kind of sit down and talk with you guys, you know, have kind of a one-on-one conversation and kind of open up people's eyes to, you know, being on a boat isn't really about, and I know a lot of boaters know this, but a lot of people who don't know this, it's not easy. You know, a lot of people think that a sailing trip is, you know, you've got your little cup with a straw and a umbrella, and you just are sitting there sipping your drink and enjoying the scenery. You can be, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into it before you get there. But it's so rewarding. There is a reward. There's a reward at the end of all the hard work. And I don't want to just talk about hard work, but I am talking to you about what I learned. And learning is hard work. It takes experience and learning from experience. Yeah, I mean, there's times where it's raining or it's hot or it's cold. You're definitely with the elements on a boat. That was another thing I had learned. Material things don't matter on a boat. And you need, you know, doubles of everything for the boat. But if you want to have a nice little happy decoration, because probably, more than likely, the space that you're using for your happy little trinkets is going to be needed for the boat. Pretty much everything, every little space that you need for yourself, more than likely is going to be for the boat. A lot of times you'll do something and have to redo it eventually because it's wood. Somebody mentioned for me to talk about what I've learned, all the things I've learned from reading my book, Accidental Sailor Girl. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to have a one-on-one conversation with you about that, about those who have read my book, and kind of read my story, my past, where I've come from. We definitely want to take a bus trip. That'll be next. So we're going to take the boat up to Maine next year, probably to the Bahamas and Maine, depending on family situations. Don't forget to check out my book, Accidental Sailor Girl. Become a Patreon. I'll put a link in the description. It helps a lot with paying for a new camera. And we're also thinking of recording an album. Pete has been talking about recording a CD since I've met him. Great musician. I'm just kind of starting learning, but I can be a little bit of background for him. Ava, his daughter, she plays fiddle, mandolin. We get her on the album too, playing. So the album will probably be a little bluegrass, gypsy jazz. He might make a couple albums with all the music he knows. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that once we start getting, we gotta actually start recording. We got all the software and everything to get it started. And we're planning on recording on the boat And then eventually what would be really cool is once we get everything settled, maybe doing a tour on Norna, and wherever we land, maybe having a little gathering of boaters. Meet me, and if you'd like, I'll bring some books with me, and I'll sign some books and CDs. Yeah, we'll work on that. We're going to put a good effort into it before we start touring with Norna. As the tour comes up, I'll list, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to just kind of list these places that we're going to be at, because who knows? I mean, being on a boat is kind of hard to know where you're going to land in a time. So if I'm in your area, just I'll give a shout out on Facebook or on YouTube or Instagram. I don't know how to use Twitter, or I do Twitter. I have no idea how to use it. So yeah, definitely check it out. And if you're new, definitely subscribe. Welcome to my channel. I put out new videos every weekend, sometimes twice a week, depending on if we go for a sail. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you again next week.